let's talk about a trade move that's shaking up the tech world and rewriting the rules for global business. And I promise this is one you'll want to follow. So, here's the headline. The US government just made NVIDIA and AMD an offer they couldn't refuse. Starting now, if these chip giants want to sell certain AI chips like NVIDIA's H20 or AMD's MI308 to China, they can. But there's a catch. Uncle Sam gets 15% of every dollar those chips make in China. This is a full-on pivot from the months of tight export bans, and it's not just a policy update, it's a whole new playbook. Let's break down why this matters. First, the chips at the center of this deal aren't the crown jewels. We're not talking about the fastest, most advanced AI hardware, those are still locked down. These are mid-tier chips, valuable for business but not quite the keys to the AI kingdom. From the administration side, the argument is all about balance. President Trump framed it as pragmatic. At first, the government wanted 20% of the revenue, but after some back and forth with NVIDIA's CEO, they settled at 15%. The message? America makes the rules, but business can go on as long as the US shares in the upside. For NVIDIA and AMD, it's a lifeline. Their China sales have taken a massive hit from export bans, costing, in NVIDIA's case, billions. Re-entering China, even at a fee, means plugging back into a market that can represent a quarter of their global revenue. Sure, margins get squeezed, but with the sheer size of China's AI demand, the math still works. Of course, the deal wasn't just met with applause. Lawmakers from both parties raised alarms, especially on national security grounds. The fear is that even these mid-tier chips might find their way into military applications. Some argue that putting a price tag on security sets a dangerous precedent. Others see it as the US government acting more like a business partner than a regulator. And there's the legal gray zone. The Constitution says Congress, not the president, sets taxes and controls trade. Critics point out this revenue-sharing deal could run afoul of long-standing separation of powers, and lawsuits may be coming. Plus, there's the whiff of cronyism. Big corporations striking deals directly with the White House, while smaller players are left out in the cold. Let's zoom out. China's take? Officially, they're not impressed. State media called the chips inferior and the deal transactional, but in practice, the door is open, at least a crack, for US tech. At the same time, China is doubling down on building its own chip industry, nudging local tech giants to rely less on foreign suppliers. Globally, this could set off a trend. Other countries might start demanding their own fees for market access, or tie trade to regulatory concessions, and it turns export controls into a kind of pay-to-play system, which could scramble the rules for international business. So what's next? Legal battles seem inevitable. Congress might step in to curb this kind of executive deal-making, and in tech, other sectors are watching, biotech, rare earths, maybe even telecom, to see if revenue for access becomes the new normal. Bottom line, this deal is more than a headline. It's a stress test for where business, security, law, and global power all collide. And no matter where you sit, in tech, policy, or investing, it's a pivot point worth watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know your thoughts. Does this move make sense, or is the US crossing a line? Drop a comment below.